Hello and welcome to Random Tech Info, and today we're talking about the OnePlus Nord, the much anticipated phone from OnePlus that's supposed to be kind of their return to their roots, to a more value type proposition with their phones with a lower price tag. Before we get into whether or not it will work here in the US though, I do want to talk a little bit about the specs on this phone and whether or not it is this return to value that OnePlus is saying it is. So the specs on this phone are certainly not bad for the money compared to most other phones. For 399 euros or about $480 USD, you're getting a 765G Snapdragon processor, you're getting a 90 Hertz refresh rate with an AMOLED display, you're getting 30 watt warp charging, 12 gigs of RAM, which is pretty high for a mid-range type device, with either 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. You get an ultra-wide selfie camera. Now, there's no IP rating or wireless charging for this device, but I don't really think that's a big deal for a phone at this price range. You wouldn't necessarily expect to find that. The one thing it is missing that's a little surprising is the absence of a headphone jack. A lot of mid-range phones do have headphone jacks. I guess it's not too surprising because when OnePlus released this, they also simultaneously revealed their new truly wireless earbuds that they're going to be selling as well. So I guess not super surprising, but still, lack of a headphone jack for a phone in this price range may turn some people off to it. But overall, spec-wise, certainly not a slouch, not a terrible device by any means. However, OnePlus is, in my opinion, in this situation, kind of a victim of its own success. I don't know why anybody would actually buy this phone. The reason is the OnePlus 7T and the OnePlus 7 Pro are both still for sale. And they're both still for sale on OnePlus's website right now for $499. They have similar cameras and specs across the board with the exception of the processors. The OnePlus 7 series, the 17 and the 7 Pro, have last year's flagship chips in them. The Pro has the Snapdragon 755 processor. The 7T has the 755 Plus processor, which are both significantly better performance-wise than the 765G that is in the Nord. So for the same money, you can get a last year flagship from OnePlus still for sale on their website as of today, which is July 21st. And I think you're getting a much better value there than you're getting with the Nord. Now, all that being said, if you want the absolute latest that OnePlus has to offer and you still want the Nord, knock yourself out. The one advantage to the Nord might be that it might get software updates for a little bit longer. It might be supported a little bit longer than last year's flagships, obviously, as it's coming out later. So that is one possible advantage, I would guess, to getting the Nord. But if that's really the phone you want, then I'm going to tell you whether or not it will work here in the US. So right off the bat, just so you know, regardless of your carrier, no 5G. None of the 5G bands that are on this device are supported here. So you're dealing with 4G and 3G only. For 4G with Verizon, unfortunately, you're not in good shape there. It does not support Verizon's Band 13, which is their big band. That's their primary band. So without that, you would not get very reliable coverage with Verizon. So I would say a no-go on Verizon. at&t, the story's a little bit more rosy. It does support their primary bands on at&t. It does not support all their bands. So you may not get the very best coverage at&t has to offer with this device, but for most people in most places, it should work well enough. You should get decent enough coverage that it should be a viable device. Now, for Sprint, I've been saying this for a little while now, don't buy it. Sprint phones are losing some of their functionality right now during the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. If you're on Sprint, I would wait till the merger is complete at the beginning of August, depending on when you're watching this. I'm filming this on July 21st. I would wait till the beginning of August 2020 before you buy any more phones to ensure that they work on the network just fine. Going over to T-Mobile, the news is actually pretty good. It uses 5 out of 6 of their 4G bands. It's only missing their band 71, which is a really low frequency band, which is what they really use to cover more rural areas. So unless you live in a more rural part of the US, your coverage on T-Mobile should be pretty good. And as the Sprint T-Mobile network merger moves forward and completes, your coverage will get even better because it does use some of Sprint's 4G band. So if you're a T-Mobile customer and you really want the Nord, it should work for you pretty well here. Well, those are all the thoughts I have today about the Nord and all the information I have about the Nord as far as whether or not it will work here in the US. Before you completely flame me down in the comments for what I said about the Nord, just know I have a OnePlus 7T. That is my daily use phone. I love OnePlus. When I replace that 7T down the road, I plan on replacing it with another OnePlus device. I love Oxygen OS. I'm a OnePlus fan. It's just in this particular case, with what they're offering with this device, I just think there's some better values out there right now, at least if you live in the US. So, at any rate, I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Rando Tech Info signing out.